Hi, good morning everybody. Today we're going to talk about your lower back pain and how this highway to hell of hip flexors is most likely the cause. And specifically, this muscle right here, known as the rectus femoris, can really be annoying because not only does it extend your leg, but it also flexes the hip. So it has two roles in which it's supposed to function for your body, but due to the massive amount of sitting and shortened position on our hips, it often ends up pulling on our hips in the wrong way versus doing the actual job it needs to do. So today, we're gonna talk about my paradigm of movement, mobility, strength, flexibility, and lifestyle, and we're gonna go into the mobility and the flexibility section. So mobility, we're gonna find a nice way for you to learn how to just kind of massage and release that neurological tension. And in the flexibility, we're gonna go into a positional stretch where your body can start to stretch the area that it finds the tightest in the area that's causing the shortness, which most likely is the reason behind your pain. So the highway to hell foam roll, what we want to do is we want to find the greater trochanter, so this part of our leg, if you will, and we want to get that foam roll right in that area. So what I'm going to do here is I got to watch out with my camera angle because it can get a bit blurry if I move forward and back too much. So I'm going to stay a little bit far away here. I'm going to open up, lift up my shirt. Oh man, and I found it right away. Now this is a great exercise because what's going to happen is we're going to start working on that the entire area of the hip flexors, but also it brings us into our concept of the wounded dog in the woods theory. If a dog is wounded in the woods, it doesn't matter if you try to help it or what you try to do to it, it's not going to trust you. And the nervous system is similar. So the more you approach that dog, the sooner it's going to realize you're trying to help it, and the more it's going to allow you to help. The nervous system is the same way. So you might lie in this position and realize that you don't really feel anything. If that's the case, move yourself around a little bit, try to find those trigger points. Once the body begins to relax, just like that dog, your body will then start to show you where the issue is. That is where we want to work. Now, from that being said, we also then have another concept called pivot or persevere. The idea is it working? And should we persevere and just wait a little bit longer? Or if it's not working, should we pivot and try something new? In this case, what I want you to do is focus on the breath, find the different positions, realize where your trigger points are, where the pain is, and then when you get there, go ahead and work on it for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then do this consistently for about a week. What we're gonna see is when the body begins to work with you, the nervous system begins to relax, and it starts to work, then we want to persevere. However, if it's not doing anything, then we can focus on pivoting. The thing is, we want to make sure we understand this wounded dog in the woods concept, because if your nervous system at the beginning is fighting against you, then it will make sense at the very initial set of these exercises if they irritate your leg a little bit. That's why we want to be a bit patient and make sure that we don't stop something that's actually helping us only because our nervous system doesn't understand it. All right, so we've got two levels of this stretch. Here's level 1, if you will. And what I want you to do is I am focusing on my left leg here. So my right leg is just in a 90-degree position. My hand is balancing on something on both sides because I don't want my body to be balancing and stabilizing this exercise, so to speak, as I'm trying to stretch the muscles. It's a bit counterintuitive. It's like trying to take your underwear off and put your pants on at the same time. It doesn't work. So what we're gonna do from here is level 1 is I don't care about my front leg. I don't wanna go into this split position. But what I do want to focus on is my hip here. So I am balancing on both sides. You can have a yoga wheel, you can have a yoga block, you can have a small chair, it doesn't matter what you have. But you want something on both sides so you can breathe and you can really start to open up this left hip. Now, what I like to do is also, it's very easy to go into this duck butt position because that's where the hip flexor is gonna want to pull you. So again, the hip flexors are these guys right here. What I wanna do is I wanna also focus on tucking my butt under. So I do both. I go into, let's say, a neutral position. You can also allow a little bit of a duck butt. Again, you're gonna realize the stretch maybe gets a little bit less because that's the direction your hip flexors want to pull you. But what I like to do is really tuck under, and then what I'm gonna do now is take my left hand, because I got my left hand back, and I'm really gonna stretch. Now from here, you can put your arm up, you can put it behind your head, but what is really fun here is you can start to lean in, meaning that direction. You can turn your hips a little bit, but what you can do from here is really begin to kind of tuck that pelvis under, because what you're gonna get now is a stretch in the spine, so to speak, because that's where your psoas major in your psoas major in this case connects to your lower spine. So by straightening it and tucking your hips under, you're getting a stretch of all of those muscles in that highway to hell, but specifically, not specifically all of them, but I'm gonna kind of show some of the individual ones here, because we've got our iliacus, we've got our psoas major, we've got our sartorius, and we've got our rectus femoris. These are all muscles that we want to focus on. And from here, you can get the position just like this in level 1. Level 1 plus, if you will, is like this. In the next exercise, I'm going to show how we can then bring it into a split position, because that's going to put extra tension and stretch onto our fascia, which means it's going to change the stretch completely. All right, so now I'm sliding as we speak into the more extreme version here. So as you've seen, I've taken my shoe off because that allows my front foot to slide a little bit easier. That allows me to move from my right leg, where I can focus on keeping my left leg more in a static stretch position. From here, we've got a few options. You see I've got my hand again on the yoga wheel. Hopefully that's not blocking what I'm doing here from the camera. And I've also got my hand on this table here. Now, depending on where your flexibility is, and I'm curious where mine is too at the moment, you can take a yoga block. Let's see, I don't think I'm low enough at the moment to go on to the yoga block. Let's see here. What I sometimes do, and which I should have brought, is like a little bit of a book, because then I can put the block on the book, so to speak, and then I can sit more directly on the yoga block. However, from here, I'm pretty close to it. What I want to focus on again is just like in position 1, rotating my hips, playing with different positions, but also what I can do is now bring my arm up. I like to do this because I can contracting it to my head a little bit and get a little bit of tension, torque in my spine to straighten it up. And I can do the same thing as I did in position 1. I can try to really focus on straightening this leg. I would technically like to have this a little bit higher, because then I can sit on the block. But what this allows me to do, I'm going to bring this back so I can rotate my hips into it, is I really get that stretch within my left hip flexor, and now obviously my right hamstring also, but I can also focus on tucking my butt under and really getting, let's say, that spine straight here, so I get that stretch in that highway to hell, but also just in my overall hips from my hamstring and my hip flexor. All right, thank you so much for taking the time to watch that video. Please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and check out either A, the online consultation with me if you're too far away to get into my office, or the online programs. This is not some like 30-day challenge. These are programs specifically built with hundreds of videos that go into the why, the how, fun anatomy, and exactly what you need to do to take care of your problem. I spent a lot of time on these videos and in these programs because this is what got me pain-free, and I know it can do the same with you.